Good afternoon, everyone. Today's webinar, How to Build Website Sales, is scheduled to begin soon. We're just going to wait a few more moments to allow other registrants to log on and get settled. Before we get started, just a quick housekeeping note. If you can hear my voice and see my screen, please raise your hand. All right. If you're having any trouble hearing or seeing me, please let us know in the questions tab on your GoToWebinar control panel. My name is Aaliyah Lewandowski. I'm the SEO SEM guide for Floriology Digital Marketing Program. My co-presenter today is Michaela Hill. We know your time is valuable, so we are scheduled to go for about 30 minutes of presentation and 10 minutes for Q&A. There's always a lot of activity at the Floriology Institute, so I hope you all are following us on Facebook and are visiting floriologyinstitute.com for the latest news and blog posts on a wide range of topics. Our next Floriology class is scheduled for January 21st to the 25th of 2019. This one is the Principles and Elements of Floral Design with instructor Jackie Lacey. Please visit floriologyinstitute.com to learn more about this upcoming class or to sign up. For more information on our other upcoming courses, schedule, and webinars, visit floriologyinstitute.com/register. Just a quick housekeeping note: if you have any questions throughout the broadcast, please type them in your GoToWebinar control panel. Thank you for your patience. The webinar will begin shortly. All right, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. We're happy to present today's webinar, How to Build Website Sales. I'm Aaliyah Lewandowski, SEO SEM coordinator at the Digital Marketing Program. My co-presenter today is Michaela Hill. With that, let's get started. So what is digital marketing?
So just to go over a brief definition of what digital marketing is, it is the marketing of products or services using digital technologies.
All right. So building your brand and improving your search rank position. So whether or not you want it, you have an online brand. If you don't take control of your online brand, your customers and competitors will define it for you, essentially meaning that if you don't put work and effort into your online brand and into creating exactly what you want for it, whatever reviews go up, whatever competitors advertise against you or, make blogs or reviews of you is kind of what your brand will be.
And the key thing to understand here is that Google listings or Yelp listing or Bing listings, Yahoo listings, any of those things don't need to be created by the owner of a shop. Anyone can create those listings if a business exists and they can prove that it exists. So it's important to get ahead of all of that and try to control what people are saying about your shop.
Yeah, and most people visit your website than your store, whether that be them looking up, stores in the area, shopping out of town, searching up information before they go in, whether that be your business hours, where you're located, what things you may offer. So it's really important for your online brand to be as strong as your store.
And working with florists, we've realized that business hours for flower shops tend to vary depending on what time of year it is. Holidays, shops tend to be open a little bit longer, so it's important that you let people know that because they're going to look for you online before they make that step in the shop.
Yeah, and just a little quick thing for everybody to remember as we go through, more people are going to visit on their phone than anything else. So you'll hear us talk a lot about mobile usability, and that's the reason behind it, is that most people are looking up on your phone, whether that be for hours, for your number, for your location. So it's really important that your website is, usable on cell phones.
Correct.
So, search rank position, it seems kind of like a daunting thing, and, most people believe that as long as they're on the first page, that they'll be clicked. But according, to actual Google statistics, as you can see, position 1 has about 30% click-through rate, and then as we go forward, position 2 drops by half. So it's really important to try to get that top position, whether it be organic or paid, in order to really get people to be clicking through your site and getting on a relevant site versus a competitor or, maybe somebody who's just bidding on keywords that they don't actually have on their website.
And just to take a quick step back, this is for when people search things into Google or whatever, this is that results page that will come up. You want to be at the top of the page because most people won't scroll if they have to. That's why ads, as we'll get into later, are so important for online platforms.
Yeah, and it's also really important to remember, like we were saying before, that most people are looking at your website on their cell phones now, which does mean that they have a smaller screen. They won't be able to see as many options as they come up. So those first 2 to 3 positions are really the only thing that anybody on their phone is going to be able to see. So it's really, really, really important to be able to get to that number 1 position, which we will be able to tell you how to do, considering we do it every day.
So now we're going to go over strategies to build that rank. And one of the key strategies in doing this is making sure that you've already secured your brand by having uniform in your handles. So what I mean by that is across all social platforms and Google Business, your website, everything, you should try to keep your name of your shop consistent on all of those platforms. It's going to make it easier for people to find you and search you and so on.
Yeah, and in addition to that, it's going to make it easy for you to control your brand. If you have multiple handles, that means that you have to be looking for multiple things on multiple websites. With one handle across all platforms, you can go into any of your accounts, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, any of them, and be able to search up your handle that you know by heart in order to see any reviews, any mentions, and any pictures that have been posted of you. So it's pretty important to be able to confirm all of your online handles. And then we're going to say, a couple things that may seem a bit
overwhelming.
Yeah, overwhelming at first, but we'll definitely go into explanations of all of them. And that's going to be deploy proper basic search engine optimization on your website. You'll see it abbreviated as SEO.
We're also going to go over how to create consistent, relevant content across many platforms, including blogging for your website.
Yep. We'll show you why you should invest in search engine marketing, SEM, such as Google AdWords, Bing ads, Facebook, which Facebook ads do also include Instagram ads.
Yeah. And then the last thing we'll go over is increasing and managing your reviews. And we'll cover mostly Google and Facebook and Yelp. We haven't gotten too involved with Yahoo or Bing yet, but those are also platforms that are important to take a look at.
All right, so step 1, of course, is going to be to secure your brand. Whether or not you have a brand that you already have had for a while, or if you're creating a new brand, this is definitely an important step for you to start with.
A big part of that is capturing a domain. You want a domain that's descriptive of what your shop is, and you want to get everything that's close to that. So as you can see on the slide, Renato's flowers spelled 3 different ways, whether that's making it plural, using capitals or numbers or whatever. Anything that could potentially lead someone to someone else's website, you want to direct them back to your own.
Yep, and this is really important. A lot of people kind of overlook getting the misspellings and, spellings that are similar. But I do know that, I think it was last year, Target didn't buy the domain Target in time, and Walmart bought them and forwarded everybody who typed in targets.com to Walmart. So, they had to go through a big thing of, buying it back off. And although, you probably wouldn't have to buy it back off, it is really important for you to buy those so that you can point them to your domain so that a competitor can't do the same.
And that's a very cheap and easy strategy to take. Domains aren't very expensive, and you can easily point them all to the same website.
Yep. You're also, of course, going to want to capture those social media handles.
There's a link provided in the slide that goes to a site called Name Checker, which will allow you to search handles that are available across all platforms. It'll tell you which platforms it's available on and which ones it's no longer available for.
Yep, and it also checks email.
Yeah. And then we also want you to prioritize your social media. Some of the ones we go over in this slide and also in our day-to-day with the Floreology digital marketing service is Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. And we'll go in more depth later on. And as you can see in the examples below, once again with Renato's flowers, all of the handles are exactly the same going down those URLs. And that's what you want. You want that consistency across all platforms.
Yep. And it also makes it easier for your customers to find you. They don't have to remember multiple handles on different, sites. It's all the exact same.
Right.
So you're going to want to confirm that your business citation is accurate and consistent across search engine references. That sounds like a whole mouthful, but it's pretty easy. That just means making sure that your Google Business, your Apple Map Connect, your Yelp Biz, and your Bing Places all have the appropriate information on them. That includes your location, possibly directions on how to get there, your hours, any way to contact you, whether that be phone, fax, or email. You want them to be the same across all of these platforms.
And one thing that more of these listings are allowing you to do is list your service areas. So whether that's a radius around a certain point or if it's specific zip codes or cities, you're more than welcome to type those all in. That gives people, when they're searching, an idea of whether you can service them or not.
Yep, and you can use moz.com/local to find out whether or not, all of those things are coming back as consistent.
Yeah.
Do understand that if you change any of your Google Business or anything like that, it can take a couple days for Moz to recognize it. So, if you go in, you change it, and then you check immediately, don't be, freaked out if it's not registering that change has been made. It takes a couple days for it to, kind of understand, like, that got changed and to put it into their system.
And you'll see that that's consistent across those other listing pages too. When you make that change, usually it's not immediate. It takes, they have to process to make sure that information is correct.
Yeah. And again, we just want to point out, we may be going a little bit fast with some of this, but if you have any questions, go ahead and let us know, and we'll address them as soon as we see them. So this is kind of my area of expertise, is SEO on websites. So you're going to want to think like a local search engine and structure your website with Google in mind. What that means is that you're kind of going to structure everything on your website how you would expect somebody to be searching it. We call it a hierarchy of your website, but, that kind of seems like a vague term. What it really means is that you have to understand that your homepage is going to be the beginning of anything. That's the first thing that everything links to. That's the first thing that's seen. So everything else on your website should splinter off of your homepage. You should be able to get to most of the pages from your homepage. All of them should kind of link back to your homepage, and really your homepage is where you want the most of your core keywords to be. And what this really means, and especially in the florist industry, is on your homepage you'll see links that say featured. So that would be splintering off. So homepage is going to be your top priority. Featured would be your second priority, and then anything underneath that. So right now it's Christmas, holiday, that type of a thing, are all going to be third tier. And that's kind of how I want you to think of where you should be putting your time into. Your homepage should always take the most time, and then you just kind of go down the hierarchy of how many links you have to click in order to get there is kind of how you can easily identify.
And as Aaliyah was saying in the beginning, where you should think like a local search engine would, and how she described that that's from the customer's perspective. Think of how you would Google things if you're looking for flowers in your area. Those kind of words are the ones that other people are most likely searching.
Yeah. So using the right keywords are really important on your website too. You're going to want to think about your local area. You're going to want to think about what products and services you're offering, what local venues are around you, what references your customers have made. So, that really changes it. Of course, you'll have your basic ones. Again, for florists, a lot of same-day delivery, floral arrangements, floral design. But, in Jacksonville specifically, we can do things like some of the high schools around us. We can target those high schools for prom flowers. Robert E. Lee is around here, so, one of our keywords on there will be, prom flowers for Robert E. Lee and using their colors because that's what's going to get us local searches.
And that would also include subdivisions within the area you're in. So we're in Jacksonville, we'd have our subdivisions of like Southside, Arlington, those kind of subdivisions. So keep those in mind as you're moving forward also.
Yeah, and, really think about local holidays, too. Sweetest Day is a big thing in the Midwest, but that's not a big thing here. So in Jacksonville, we're not going to use the keyword of Sweetest Day because we won't really get a whole lot of clicks for Jacksonville. But if we're doing, a florist shop in the Midwest, of course, we're going to use that, almost everywhere that we can in romance. Right. In order to get those clicks. So really think about where you are, and what location you're really trying to pull to. So, so the everyday homepage and subpage requires a unique title and description. All that means is that every page on your website should have its own title and its own description, essentially so that Google doesn't confuse it with the other one. So, if your featured flowers is called featured flowers, then your Christmas shouldn't be called, featured flowers. It should be called, featured Christmas. That's all that really means, and your description should be different too. So on all of those, you shouldn't have the same description on featured flowers as you do on Christmas. Maybe featured says, your local florist for any of your everyday flowers, and your Christmas will be specifically, grab holiday arrangements.
And these page descriptions really gives you a chance to start loading up some of those keywords, which will help in the long run with ranking on Google.
Definitely. And a lot of people overlook the title and description. The title is normally automatically filled out, but the description is not. So it's really important to go through your website and make sure that all of those are taken care of. And if you see any blank ones, to fill them in. That's also the only way for Google to be able to pull your web page. If you don't have a title and a description, it won't pull it. So, although your home page may rank and you see, that if you type in, we'll say 1-800-Flowers Jacksonville, that your homepage comes up, but if they type in romance flowers in Jacksonville, you don't appear anywhere. And it could be that you don't have a title and description for Google to be able to pull a snippet of your site to even put on their ranking system. So it's really important for both of those to be filled out. And it's relatively easy to find on any of the back ends. It should be under any SEO tab that you see.
You'll notice that the strategy is also just very repetitive. Creating the content isn't very difficult, and it's just a matter of going in each of those sub-pages and putting that title and description in.
Yeah. So, again, with the SEO, you're going to want to be SEO friendly. Like I said, as you can see on the URL examples, the, flowershop.com/birthday flowers, flowershop.com/funeral flowers. It's telling Google kind of like, hey, this is what this link is about. Because, maybe you don't have the keywords on your website that you want. Maybe you, don't have them saturated as much as they should be. This really lets Google know that this link is for wedding flowers. And it allows you to have a keyword in everything that has been posted. So anytime that link's posted someplace, that's another keyword for your website. And that's really important. But again, make sure that those are all unique, or else your pages will get messed up, and it could, really ding you on Google's search engine.
Another thing that's really important, and you may even be told is really important, especially in this year, is the SSL certification. which basically Google will call your site secure or not secure depending on whether you have that certification or not. So you'll notice it'll be the HTTPS or the HTTP, depending on if you have that SSL certification.
Yeah, and that's been really important lately. Before, it used to just kind of be an extra little bump for, Google's algorithm. But ever since all of the privacy acts, Google now, if you don't have the HTTPS, it will 100% come up right at the top saying not secure.
Which is really bad for your business, especially with new users coming to your site. You don't want people to feel like they're on a sketchy site.
Yeah, and that's what we've been seeing happening is you'll get a drop in traffic just because, a bright red banner comes across and it says, the site isn't secure.
Yeah.
So although you probably aren't trying to steal anybody's credit card information, that's how people feel on commerce sites whenever they see that banner at the top.
Right. And then we went over this in the beginning, and Aaliyah dove into it a little bit more. But the mobile responsiveness of websites is extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
As of April 21st, 2015, non-mobile websites don't even appear in the search results anymore.
Yeah.
So if they're not responsive to different size screens, they most likely will not appear anywhere.
Yeah, and the link that we have right here, it will allow you to test your site and see, how you're ranking with mobile usability. But really, really, it's important to make sure that your site is user friendly on mobile. If it's not, Google doesn't make it appear in search results, and even if it is, but it's a low quality score, they will drop you in search results.
Yeah, they'll let those people who did take that time to make sure it's mobile responsive to put them above you in that search results page.
Definitely. And another big thing for SEO is to think content and compare with your competitors. So, if you have other competitors in the area, you may want to go on their website, kind of see what their content is. Of course, don't steal their content, but maybe look for holes. If the florist down the street from you seems to really, really, really be hitting hard on prom flowers, but you notice that they're not really touching anything else, like weddings or anything else, it would benefit you a lot to have a lot of content on your site about wedding flowers. So really look for any holes that your competitors have and try to fill those on your site with content.
And that will also help you that if you're not putting out that duplicate content with them, like if you're not focusing on the same things they're focusing on, it reduces that that competitiveness for your shop to move forward and to get those sales.
All right, so we talked about mobile responsiveness. So this is just an example of what it means. So if you look at the all the way left, you're going to see what the website looks like whenever it's full screen on a desktop. As you switch over one, that's what it looks like whenever it comes up on a cell phone. And then if you continue to move over, that's what it looks like as it's scrolling. So if you notice, the content was able to minimize.
The second one is if it was on like a tablet. Sorry.
Oh, excuse me, sorry. But your website should be able to resize according to the screen that people are seeing it on, and that's what they mean by mobile responsiveness.
Yeah. All right, so one of the main things we like to focus on, especially for SEO purposes, is to create blogs for the website, and also that consistent, relevant content across all the platforms that you manage. Blogs are important because not only does it give your potential customers something that, like a question that you're answering for them, but it also builds that bank of keywords that are searchable on your website.
Yep, and that's going to be really important for you. And really, if you create, relevant content that's engaging to people, what you're really also looking for is for people to take that content and put it onto their website with your links in them. And that creates outbound and inbound links that can really help you out in Google's algorithm. How their algorithm works is it decides who's going to be at the top by how relevant they are, how many people are talking about them, how many people have links to them. So it's really important to kind of create relevant and engaging content both for social and for, your website.
And the more useful content that you create, the more relevant and engaging it actually is,
yeah.
The more likely that your customers will share it with their friends and family, who will then share it with their friends and family.
Yes. So writing blog posts. They can seem pretty, daunting. They should be anywhere from 200 to 2,000 words. the more, the merrier. But it really depends on your keyword saturation. If you're making a blog simply to get, flower delivery on your website more, it can be 200. If you're putting up blogs to try to get keywords for, say, a whole holiday, like Valentine's Day, if you're trying to get romance flowers, Valentine's Day flowers, Valentine's Day delivery, wedding, red roses, all of those keywords in a post, you need about 2,000 words.
For sure. And this is where it is a lot simpler, because blog posts, it's everything you do as a florist. It's your day-to-day. It's the things that like the back of your hand, that you can then educate other people on.
Yep. And it's important to have embedded links to other landing pages within your website, on your blog. Again, if somebody decides, they really like that content and they would like to share it, you really want those links to continue, which means that they need to be embedded in. This can be a little bit difficult depending on what platform you are on. So just, check with the back end of your platform and see 100%, how they embed links, and make sure whenever you're doing it that you check those links, because any broken links will count against you.
And these blog posts dual as a social post, which social can sometimes be daunting because you're not really sure what to post. The blog post, all you really have to do is post a link that goes back to your website that's promoting your blog post to your audience.
Yeah, and, for the first couple blogs that you write, it is going to seem a little bit daunting to put the amount of keywords in there that you want. You want about 2% keywords in your content. And it's going to sound redundant, but, as you continue to do it, you'll recognize, it's just because you're writing it that it sounds redundant and not that it actually, reads that way.
And just a side note, the keywords, they're so insanely important for your website. However, you don't want to oversaturate your content to the point where Google thinks it's genuinely just a hack for you to get ranked higher.
Yeah.
Because they will ding you for that, and you will appear at the bottom of everything.
It's a fine line that we all walk with Google. My rule of hand is normally 2 to 5%. Anything more than 5%, you're starting to just saturate with keywords. Anything below 2%, it's not gonna really count.
Yeah, it just looks more like a red flag to Google.
Yep, and always make sure if you're going to put an image in to name your image, because that counts as a keyword. So that's just a free keyword for you to put in there. And if your image doesn't load, then that means it's not loading, whatever the title was that you downloaded it as, which can sometimes be strange.
Yeah. All right. It's definitely important to prioritize social media, especially in this day and age. As you can see from the statistics on the slide, everyone is using a good chunk of all of these platforms, and where you're not going to catch one customer on one of the platforms, you might get them on another one. So even though it can be a little intimidating to try to keep up with all of these platforms, the more the merrier. And content is key, especially with building those links back to your website.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about, the first few, but I would like to, throw a little hat in the ring for Snapchat. Not a whole lot of people use it, and I would definitely not use Snapchat on a day-to-day basis for a business, but anytime an event happens or anything like that, it's always great, for the younger generation. It's super easy to make a filter on Snapchat. It's really inexpensive to make the filter on Snapchat for your shop, and it's great for events. Yeah. Definitely not a day-to-day usage, but definitely for events, something to look into.
And like she said, this is very much to reach that younger crowd.
Yep.
We don't see a lot of older people on Snapchat. So if you're trying to reach the millennials and you really want to get engaged with them, posting to Snapchat is very beneficial.
Yeah.
In creating a story, but it is a little bit harder to gain that following.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Just wanted to explain why it was on the list.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to go over the best practices for Facebook, and we're really just going to do a quick little overview of it and distinguish the difference between a hashtag and a Facebook tag.
Mm-hmm. So a hashtag is going to be something that that is kind of tracked through Google. It's something that you, as a, I want to say consumer, but as a user can look up. If I go into Facebook, and I type into the search bar, say red roses, hashtags will come up under there of whoever hashtagged red roses in their post, and their entire post will come up. A Facebook tag is different. A Facebook tag means that at the bottom of your post, in that little area that it says tag, that you either put a person, a place, or a location into that area, and it kind of ranks differently. It shows up on business pages. It will show up in the search, but not in the same way, and it's really useful for check-ins, for saying where you are and to tag people so that they can, notice it and all their friends get tagged in it too.
And a good way to use hashtags on Facebook specifically is to kind of incorporate them in your posts. So when you're writing about an event that might be going on, hashtag keywords that are in that sentence that you're posting. So, and the other thing that we did briefly go over is make sure they are relevant. You don't want to use something that's so vague that literally anything could pop up for.
Yeah.
And that would be like, a good example for that would be like colors.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to just say pink or red or,
be specific.
Purple, yeah. If you were doing a Mother's Day post, you can always say, come in for hashtag pink roses, to make your mom smile this hashtag Mother's Day.
Right.
It kind of flows out. It doesn't look like you just kind of tried to shove a bunch of, hashtags in there.
So good off the top of your head.
Yeah. Thanks. I've been doing it. It doesn't look like you just kind of pushed them in there to get more search. It looks, almost organic, and that's really what you're looking for with Facebook hashtags.
Right. So a newer feature to Facebook is Facebook Live. And Facebook Live is becoming more and more of a business tool, so it's important to kind of get on board with that. It may feel a little awkward and uncomfortable at first, but it does get more comfortable and people become more engaging throughout that experience.
Yeah. And just, one thing to say about Facebook Live, it really is being pushed by Facebook right now. I'm not sure how many of you guys have seen it, but I know every time one of my friends goes live, it sends me 15 notifications saying that they're going live, they've been live, look at their live video.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're having an event or anything else, it's a really great thing to put out in the beginning of the event because everybody who follows your page will immediately get notified of it 16 times.
Right. And honestly, you can make your own post, which is extra content of just saying like, hey, I'm going to do Facebook Live at this time on this day.
Yep.
Like, just tune in if you're there. And also, it's important to make sure you have a compelling description before going live. People want to know what they're getting into, what they're going to be watching. So maybe plan a little bit ahead. Don't just kind of jump in.
Yeah.
Especially if you have like important content.
Yes. And, whenever you go live, make sure that you have a strong internet connection. Nothing tanks a live video faster than, it trying to buffer or it cutting out, that type of a thing. So always test your connection first. Super easy to do. You can either do it through a speed test or literally open YouTube. If YouTube is loading at its highest, quality, you're fine. And that's kind of just an easy, quick test. See if you have a strong connection.
And while you're on those Facebook Lives, it's important to engage with your viewers and have them follow you, have them turn on that notification so they know when you are going live. That makes it so you're building that stronger relationship with them.
All right, and also say hello to commentators, and really call them out by name. It's nice for them to know that you are seeing them, that you're engaging with them,
paying attention.
Yep, and it's a great way to pull in community involvement.
Right, and honestly, like I said before, just building those relationships. That's a huge part of what social does for businesses. Is it takes that business front away and puts a face to it.
And the longer period of time that you're on Facebook Live, the more notifications that are going to get sent out to people, and the longer people have to, kind of connect in and see it.
Right.
So definitely try to make them a little bit longer, not too long, but definitely more than, 5 minutes.
All right, let's get into YouTube. YouTube is something that we've recently started experimenting with a little bit more. Google does own YouTube, which gives you a little bit of a bump. However, this is one of the platforms that is a little bit more time-consuming as a business owner.
Definitely. So you're going to want to either use a Gmail address or create a new Gmail address that has your shop name as a username. And that's also because if you, are responding to comments or anything else, you want a, professional Gmail to come back on, not the email that you made when you're 15.
Also, many times, YouTube will automatically pull the beginning part of that email account, and put that as the rest of the URL, as you can see below with the Renato's flowers.
Yes. So definitely make sure that you have the correct Gmail address. So embedding that YouTube video that you're going to put up on, on your YouTube channel, I'm sorry, channel just flew out of my mind, is also going to be embedded on your website. Again, check out the back end of your website to really see how to do it. Some backends have a little button that you embed a video there. Some of them you have to go into the code and embed it in. Both are really relatively easy to do, and I know that we have webinars explaining both. But having a video on your landing page makes it 53% more likely to show up on page 1 of a search engine, really just because you're showing that, you put time and effort into it. The more relevant your video is, the more views you get, the more social links that...
The more impact it'll have on...
Yeah, and the more social signals that Google has to say, like, okay, people are genuinely interested in this content.
And another thing, as I said before, this is also another opportunity for you to have a post on your other social medias. Just by creating this link to post out to your friends and family and the other followers on your pages.
Yeah. All right, so, and, we said embedded, and although we do have a webinar on it already, we just wanted to put in a little bit of a example so that you can see exactly where you get the embedded link from. You're going to go to that little share button that's right underneath your video right here, and it'll open up, and this is your embedded link. Some of them, if they have a little area that says, put link here on your back end, you are only going to take from this / over. And I just like to point that out because a lot of people will try to put in the whole link and it won't work, or, they don't 100% know where to get that embedded link. If you need the full embedded link, hopefully your website doesn't make you do it, but if you do and they're asking for like a code, you're going to go right here to this little button and it will give you the full code for it. So we just wanted to point that out to make sure everybody knew.
And as you can see here, also it gives you that option to share to those linked accounts. Yep. So that's a really easy way to literally just hit Facebook. It'll get posted to your Facebook. You can add some text if you want to, but it's an easy way to just keep sharing across all your platforms.
Definitely.
So now let's move on to Instagram. We're going to go over some best practices for Instagram. As you've probably heard many times, and as you can see if you are on Instagram and use it, it's very important to post a clear, relevant photo with your branding in mind. Emphasis on the clear. If people see a blurry photo, they're likely to just scroll past it and not pay any attention to it.
And you're going to want to make a short descriptive statement about the photo, kind of that just tells, why you even put it on there. We suggest using hashtags and symbols. Symbols in the statement and hashtags in Instagram specifically, you're going to want to break them up. How that looks is, you'll press enter a couple times after your statement and then put in all of your hashtags. You don't really put a whole lot of hashtags in the statement on Instagram.
And I believe on mobile specifically, they do require you to put maybe those bullet points to get that space in there. I'm not sure if it works the same on the desktop, but you want to make sure that there's a clear space, because then when your post is made, you'll see your description or your written post, and then it'll be like read more, and that's where all your hashtags are going to live. So those aren't like shown immediately, and that gives your consumers a searchable way to find you. Yeah,
because the best practices for Instagram are 8 to 15 hashtags. And these are going to include, things about the photo. So say you put up a photo of a Mother's Day arrangement. Of course, you'll hashtag Mother's Day. You'll hashtag, flower arrangement. You'll hashtag whatever flowers are in there.
Flower delivery, the location you're in.
Yeah, and that's going to be your supplemental branding and commonly used hashtags. So your supplemental branding will be, your name. So, rodeo roses, Buckeye florist, that type of a thing. You'll hashtag in the bottom. And then commonly used ones such as, same-day delivery, flower delivery.
Flower shop, florist, those kind of things.
All of those. So that's why you want to give that space, is because they're not really meant for reading as much as they are meant for people who are looking pictures up on Instagram to be able to find them.
And this just truly makes your post look so much cleaner and less overwhelming and messy, and like you didn't put that time in to make it look a little nicer.
Definitely. And this is just, the graphic to show the more hashtags that you have, the more engagement that you have. All right, so search engine marketing, it's a bit daunting at first, but really, easy peasy to get to know. And we do have quite a few webinars on search engine marketing, so I won't go too into depth of how, to create them. But really the biggest thing between SEO and SEM is earned versus paid. SEO is earned through, things that you do on your website, but it takes a while for Google to recognize that you've done any of those things. And when I say a while, I do mean a few months.
Yeah, months is the key word there. You're building up those keywords, which is what SEO truly is. You're trying to build up the relevance of your site on its own. So it's like that organic,
Yep. While paid search is almost instant. Paid search also appears above any of the organic listings.
And you'll see those as like the sponsored posting.
Yeah. Which they've gone from making those really, really clear with like a background and everything else that they're ads to just having a little thing on the side that says ad. So they're becoming really important, and really it's just, Google wants more money.
And this once again goes back to what we were talking about before with wanting to be higher on the page or higher on the search results page, because once again most people are clicking on the first or second link.
Yep.
So you really want to make sure you're at the top, which is what ads or SEM really helps you do.
Yep. And you're always going to want to go for pay-per-click. I don't like pay-per-impression because that just means whatever they showed it for is what they showed it for and you pay for it.
Right.
Pay-per-click means that you only pay if somebody clicks on your advertisement. Also, just to let everybody know, I know it seems kind of redundant, don't click your own ad.
You're charging yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, they will charge you for you clicking your own ad.
However,
totally
you are more than
up.
welcome to click your competitor's ad.
That's a true statement. So, just don't click your own ad. You can search it, you can see it, just don't click it.
You are directly impacting how much money you're spending on ads.
Definitely.
And it also skews your analytics.
Yeah, it will show a lower conversion rate and everything else. So ways to make it cheaper because, nobody wants to pay a whole lot for SEM. This includes making sure that your ad quality is high, that the relevance to whatever keywords that you put in there, meaning, don't say things like gifts for dad unless you have, keywords on your website that says gifts for dad.
Right.
Your highest relevance as a florist is, of course, going to be, floral design, local florist, that type of a thing. And also your landing page really matters. You're going to, put in what URL you want them to land on. So if you did want to put an ad out that, was gifts for dad, you're going to want your landing page to be, say, Father's Day gifts, not romance.
You're also going to want to make sure, and this is something that a lot of florists, or not florists, but business owners as a whole tend to overlook, is how that landing page looks.
Yeah.
If people don't like how it looks, or if it looks cluttered or overwhelming, they're likely to click off.
Yeah.
And that can really mess with your bounce rate for these ads.
And again, if you want to know any more detail about SEM, we do have multiple webinars that really go into SEM and explain all of it. And just to, show you, as you can see, these are all advertisements. They appear at the top of the page.
You see the little word next to it that says
Yep,
ad?
that little itsy-bitsy thing that says ad. It used to be, that all of these would show up on like a gray background, and that advertisement would go all the way across there, but now, not so much. And then SEM is the much because really no florists immediately start investing in it. So that gives Ava's, From You, FTD, Teleflora, a lot of room to bid on your name and to bid on your locations. But they will be charged a higher amount if they're not a local florist. So, the fact that you bid on them, you do your own SEM for your name will drop your cost per click and will raise theirs, meaning that, Ava's won't be able to compete on you because they'll have to pay $15 per click, which doesn't make financial sense for them.
And this also will help you because you don't need to have a big budget starting out. You can start very small. It's just a matter of getting your name at that top.
Yeah, and the smaller of a town that you're in or, the smaller of a market that you're in, the less you're going to pay. You're not going to pay the same amount as a New York florist would pay if you're in, North Carolina.
Right.
So that's really nice that it really does kind of go off of what is in your area, not just a flat fee. And so, you know, like I was saying, they can use your business name as a keyword. From You Flowers and Ava's Flowers does that a lot. We get a lot of complaints about, you know, them both appearing above you. And honestly, like, if you start, you know, bidding on your name, those costs per click go up for them. And also, if you see any of their advertisements, if you click on them, their cost per conversion will go up, and they will stop advertising on your name because it doesn't make sense for them to pay, you know, $15, $30 for a
if
click.
they're not getting that conversion.
Yeah, and even if they are, you know, we all know how much it takes to actually make that conversion and how much revenue you're going to make off of that flower arrangement, that it doesn't make sense to pay, you know, $15 for one revenue.
And as we mentioned, you can use your business name as a keyword. You can also use your competitors' names as a keyword.
Yes, you can.
And not just anyone who's searching for a specific person, your ad is likely to pop up when searching for that competitor.
Yep, including bidding on Teleflora, FTD, Ava's, all of that.
And it's completely okay. You're not going to get dinged. You're not going to get in trouble. It's
Absolutely.
actually a suggested practice.
Yep, it's a best practice. All right, so increasing your positive reviews.
We all know how those reviews can impact your business, especially because people are more likely to leave a review if they are upset than they are to leave one if they had a positive experience. So the more positive reviews you get, the better. It helps build confidence in your business. Also, the more reviews you get, the better. A lot of people look, when they're looking for a shop to go to, will look and see how many people have actually taken that time to review your shop. So it's important to kind of encourage the people and your customers that you converse with to leave a review.
Yeah.
And it's important to respond to all reviews. And we do have a webinar up on reviews too. Positive reviews too, even if people don't even say anything and they just leave you a 5-star review, it's important to respond and just be thankful for that feedback and taking the time for them that they took to leave that.
Definitely, and even if somebody has a negative, you know, review to put or has a negative experience, the fact that you respond and that you seem to care about, you know, how people feel, really can help you with, one, getting so many negative reviews. A lot of people, if they see, you know, that you're trying and you respond, they won't leave you a 1-star. They'll leave you a little bit more. And they're a lot more lenient to go back and edit those reviews later if you make things right.
And if you, like she said, if you're taking that time to fix it and leaving your contact information to maybe have that conversation over the phone rather than over a listing, that could potentially convince them that, okay, well, that was out of anger, I can take this review down. And then that boosts your overall rating. And with the negative reviews, it's so important that you keep your emotions out of it. We all know that we can get heated knowing what the truth is, but it's important to stay neutral, thank them for taking the time to leave a review, and try to fix the problem so that that doesn't haunt you for the times.
It's also really, really important to leave your contact information on negative reviews. You know, a lot of people don't want, you know, to be called, you know, say it is something that, you know, doesn't really make sense or didn't really happen. I worked in the restaurant industry for a while. Trust me, I know. But you don't want to have that fight on Facebook.
Right.
You want to take that offline.
Everybody.
Yeah, you want to take it offline. Even if you don't want to, you know, put your shop number or your phone number, you know, try to direct message them. And
that,
you really
that
just
is
want
another
that.
option. Even if somebody puts a very detailed review that talks very personally about their situation, if you don't feel comfortable discussing all of that, leave a brief public review, and then also send that direct message if you want to go in depth.
Yep, say, you know, sorry that you had this experience with us. We'd really like to make it right.
Please give us a call at the shop.
Please, you know, give us a call at the shop. Please email us at this address.
And if you're going to leave them that call to action, make sure you put the follow-up information. So if you're going to say, please give us a call at the shop, list your phone number.
Yes.
Because they're not going to take the time to go out of their way to find that phone number.
Yeah. So, you know, all of this was a whole lot of information really fast, and we understand that. Thankfully, we do this every single day. So, you know, our program, the Floriology Digital Marketing, is here for, you know, everybody. We've actually expanded past just florists. So, you know, if you ever want any help or want a free consultation of what we can do for you and your website, go ahead and let us know at floriologyinstitute.com/digital marketing. And that's the end of our presentation today. Does anybody have any questions? Alrighty, well, if there are no questions, then we hope that you guys have a fantastic day.
Thank you so much for tuning in for everything.
Yeah. Oh. Yes, there will be a recording available. Yep. And we hope that you guys all have a Merry Christmas. This is our last webinar for the year, so we'll see you in 2019.
Bye, guys.